All right. Well, welcome everyone. I'm excited to be taking you through today the future of corporate events. Um, I'm coming to you from sunny California, so good morning to all my West Coasters. Good afternoon to the East Coasters. If there's anybody in EMEA joining, good evening. Um, Today we're going to be talking about a little bit about the overall industry landscape of meetings and events and what's changing there, and then we're going to go into a unveiling of Navan's new advanced events capability. I'm joined here by Kate McCarthy. So, Kate, if you could go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, we can get started.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kate McCarthy. I take care of things on the user experience and design side here at Navan, and I'm also taking care of our specialty travel products.
So, Kate, when you say specialty travel products, could you double click into that? What does that mean?
Absolutely. We've heard from a lot of our customers and other folks in the market that people are really excited about Navan, but they want us to see a little more investment in strategic areas. So one of those obviously is meetings and events. We're also looking to make sure we have the perfect product market fit for our healthcare, biosciences, and life sciences friends out there, and as well as energy and marine.
Okay, great. Um, and I'm Galen Grady. I manage Navan's meeting and events business line. And so let's go ahead and get into this discussion a little bit and talk about what the state of the industry is like today. So, Josh, if you move on here to the start, the current state of affairs in corporate meeting and events is a little bit like corporate travel was a decade ago. You've got a lot of point to point, you got point solutions combined with emails, combined with spreadsheets, and it's a bit messy. And the reason this is really important is because roughly one third of corporate travel spend is event related, right? So meetings and events are one of the biggest drivers of why people travel for work. So these fragmented systems living across these emails and spreadsheets, the hodgepodge of point solutions that only really address part of the event lifecycle creates a lot of issues downstream. It's highly manual, it's complex. Having to juggle all of these systems together leaves a lot of room for mistakes. You lose visibility on spend, which then trickles down to the actual attendee experience where it's feeling a bit disjointed. So, Kate, I know you talk to customers all day, every day. What are some of the pain points that you've heard from them?
The biggest pain point that we heard was well, let me start with the positive. We heard from our customers that they really loved using Navan for group travel. They especially loved that we had, improved our functionality to allow for very large events. But when you're organizing, especially a bigger event, the reality is that you need to book a room block, or the most cost-effective thing is to book a room block. And so they really wanted to see us bring that venue sourcing and room block functionality into the product.
Interesting. So I'll compare that to the current state, right? Where a lot of people actually have to fend for themselves, right? So if you're not a part of the events team, oftentimes it's up to you to figure out how to source this room block, how to book this room block. You're probably doing that by yourself via email, offline somehow, which then means the travel managers, the finance managers, they're losing the visibility on that actual spend. And so I'm a CPA. That's the stuff I care about. I grew up in the finance and accounting world. And so it's a real point of emphasis for me is being able to see all that spend surface into the actual product. Because right now I think it only exists in the general ledger entries and it's probably getting hidden in other OpEx categories. But the good news is there is a lot of innovation pouring into the space. And it's not just Navan, and we got some exciting stuff we're going to show you with you, but there's definitely a real industry move to shift to this to an online experience and trying to bring this into an all-in-one platform. And that's really at the heart of what we're trying to do here at Navan. So if you move on to the next slide, to put it quite simply, our goal is that every trip, every meeting, and event is all going to be on one platform, the Navan platform. In the same way that we brought the travel and expense together, making travel, expense, and meeting and events all one seamless experience so that it's easy to use online and you have full visibility into the spend that's going through the platform. And so if I just move on to the next slide here, that's what we're getting at, right? Is bringing this whole ecosystem together, having an end-to-end events platform where you can do that venue sourcing that Kate was mentioning, that you can take that mental load off of trying to figure this out yourself, and then you can enable your people to do that on their own, doing the room block management, the supplier negotiation, all this stuff directly through the platform, and then tying it to the existing group travel experience that we already have. So again, going back to the outcome of how do we unify the spend together, You have your travel, you have your room blocks, you have all your venue spend all directly on the same platform. And then we also want to pair that with, the human experience. And it's really important. Events are high stakes things, right? They need to go well. And sometimes you want to use somebody or a person who's been doing this for a long time in their career. And that's what we're trying to bring together here is that we've got these experts that have been doing event planning and event management for years and years and years. They know the best venues, they know, the how to conduct these things, how to achieve the goals of your meetings. And so how do we pull all this experience back onto the platform and give you a very unified experience? And so if we move on to the next slide real quick, that's the vision, right? Is the outcome here is that Navan becomes your hub for events. It's the only platform covering the T and E and that group travel management. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to show in this demo here shortly some of the capabilities that we're building, and and really how we're bringing this onto the platform and bringing visibility onto the spend. So, um, before we go on to the actual demo, I did want to ask a few questions and talk about some of the maybe the future state things. So, Kate, I'm going to kick it over to you. I have a question because AI is the buzzword of the decade. We are seeing sneaker brands are now becoming AI brands. So, what are some like actual practical applications of AI in the event workflow?
Great. I couldn't have said it better. And, as you said, Galen, I think that our focus is really on reducing the cognitive load and reducing the amount of manual work that any organizer needs in order to create an event. So whether you're an occasional planner all the way up through a very experienced event manager, we want to put AI to use for you to make your experience more efficient. And so what do I mean? Um, I know that I want to have an on-site or I want to have an off-site somewhere. I've never planned an event before. I have no idea what budget I should be asking for. I'm not even sure what's out there. We are integrating AI into the platform to give your teams the sense of, hey, what is this going to cost? So you can be at budgeting, asking for a realistic budget right out the gate, helping inspire your team to say, okay, I think this is where I want to go. What's out there? Or I have a few different people coming from different places. What's my best location? Those are the types of things that we're looking to build into the platform, that I think are going to make our users' experiences much, much more seamless.
Yeah, I talk to EAs constantly, and I really want to make a platform that's something that they love to use, right? And so I was talking to one here at Navan recently who had to plan an exec offsite in Arizona, and they didn't really know where to start. And I think that's what's exciting about AI and embedding it actually in the event workflow that we have here is that it helps you figure all that out. What does a budget look like for planning an offsite in Arizona? Where should I be doing this? I'm trying to incorporate these kind of activities. And you're able to take a lot of that mental load off of what I think happens to fall on EAs and chiefs of staff and the business operations teams. So it helps, I think, their workflow and help them save time. So, all right, Kate, I want to get into the actual live demo here. And we'll show you some of the capabilities that we have. So I'll kick it over to you. And while you bring that up, I do ask the audience, ask questions, right? We're here to answer them. Anything you want to know, I'll be interjecting throughout to help Kate while she does the demo to shoot in some questions for you.
Great. All right. So you all recognize, or most of you, I think, should recognize our platform. If I wanted to create an event, I just come over to the events tab. First thing I want to call out is we're going to show you today our advanced events platform that we're just super, super excited about it. Obviously, this is a self-service platform, but we also do have managed services. And if what you're looking for, what's right for your event is to have an events expert guide you through this entire process, have somebody come on site with you and make sure everything runs smoothly. You can always connect with our full service events team. So very simply, I'll go to create my event. We're going to ask you a few questions. Here we're doing, Galen's team offsite or on site maybe. Again, if you missed that button out the gate, here we give you another opportunity to recognize, okay, actually, maybe I need some extra help. And this will connect you directly with our event experts. And we're going to get our team of 40 people together. Here, this is to help people understand the difference between our standard groups and guest event travel and our advanced events capabilities. So, if you are just looking to kind of build a policy around an event that includes what can people book, when can they travel, you want to give your participants the ability to book their own rooms. That's our standard offering. With advanced events, you're going to be able to source and negotiate your RFP for multiple room blocks as well as conference rooms and activities. You'll get a custom website right out of the box, as well as the ability to manage custom RSVPs, agenda, and budget. I think these are hugely impactful, improve sort of value adds to your event and to your program. And we'll walk through some of those. All right, let's say we're going to go end of May, end of May, just after Memorial Day, and we want to go to Miami. Everybody wants to go to Miami.
Hey, while you're pulling that up here, I wanted to pull in a question from the chat. Do we have a list of cities in which this functionality will be enabled? And I think the questioner was asking in Canada more specifically.
So we are not live in Canada, to my knowledge. We're not live in Canada. This is a US only for now, but we are rapidly expanding. So as I was running through my Rolodex of where Canada runs on the list, we're going to be expanding to EMEA next, and then Canada should come shortly thereafter. Okay. So as soon as I set up my onsite, one of the things I really like is it gives your organizers a really simple to follow checklist to understand what needs to happen before they can actually send out those invitations. So, right into the good stuff. What we've heard from all of our customers is, look, the first thing I need to do is just figure out where are we staying? Where are we going? What kind of activities are we going to do? So, this will look very familiar to you. If you want to browse just by our recommendations for your hotel room blocks, that's great. But let me just go right to the punch and hop over to our AI search. Maybe I wanted to go to Miami, so I know that much already. But I want to make sure, help me find a hotel that's close to the water and has meeting rooms for 40 people. Ideally, there's a restaurant on site. And I'm genuinely making this up as I go.
So, Kate, while that's thinking, I wanted to pull in a couple more questions from the chat. So, one of the questions was, once this goes global, Bermuda, South Africa would be other great options. Fully agree. Bermuda's beautiful,
Great.
and we have an attendee from Bermuda. I love that. Um,
Yeah.
what I think is kind of interesting right now is like while we're focused on offering this to US customers, you can expand the search outside of the US. The content is still being built out there, but you can start seeing some of the functionalities and the stuff like the website and the group travel is all there currently. Another question while this finishes pulling up is there additional charge for this capability? And so what Kate is showing for you right now, this core ability to search for these room blocks, there is going to be no charge for that. And that's something that we're going to be democratizing, throughout the platform. There will be incremental features and add-ons and more premium suites of offerings here in this product that will have an additional fee. And we'll explore that with our customers and our prospects as it goes down. But I want to be really clear. We want to enable you and all your employees to be able to sourcing these room blocks through our platform using our user experience so you have visibility on that spend.
Great. Thanks, Galen. All right. So right away, you can see that our AI functionality is giving us really excellent options. So it took into account that I wanted to make sure we're close to the water, had meeting spaces, and have delicious restaurants right on site. So it'll give you these five recommendations right now. But let's say I want to say, these look great, but we're looking for an option that's more cost conscious.
And while that pulls up, Kate, another question from the chat. Does Reed Mackay support Connect with Full Service Events team? Yes, that is the Reed Mackay team. So those of you who have used the wonderful event planners and event managers and event travel specialists at Reed Mackay, those are the people behind the full service team.
All right. So right away, if I say, hey, what I'm really looking for is something a little more cost conscious, it updates your list for you. So right from the chat, I have the ability to add to my short list, which is essentially I'm curating a list of hotels that I'm interested in reaching out to. But I can also go and add to my short list, as I said, from this standard search. If you have a hotel that you know that your team really likes, that's available in your basic search. We also have the ability to search for event spaces, to search for restaurants, and to search for local activities in the area. So your whole event and your entire on-site agenda can be covered in the platform. All right, just get our little chat out of the way. Um, Now, if I continue to my short list, these, as you saw, were the hotels that I said, yes, I'm interested in moving forward with the RFP process. Well, I'm going to go back. This is the challenge of demoing in a demo environment. Um, Let me go to this additional instance. So, all right. Okay. This is just a limitation of our demo environment and a risk of doing it live. Um, Once I start that hotel RFP, and I'll pull it up in my own instance in just a moment, but I'm going to continue and show you the rest of the functionality first. Um, Actually, let me just,
While you do that, Kate, there's a question on here that I can answer while you're pulling that up.
yeah,
Uh,
let me do that.
will it show corporate negotiated rates as well? So to be really clear, right now it's not there, but that's something we're working on to get those preferred vendors and those preferred hotels embedded into the experience. So not available right now, but it's something that's very much, within our it's on our roadmap and it's something that we're very aware of.
Great. Just one moment while I log into my own account. Now we'll see things in production. Okay.
Kate, while you pull that up, I'll just talk about some of the event features um, that I have found particularly valuable because I've scheduled some offsites and done that myself. The event website has been really helpful. You can create this custom event website for your individual event and then send it to all the travelers, and it helps you push out the agenda in real time to them. Um, I've really enjoyed the sourcing as well. I'm not the coolest person out there, so it does help me find spaces and stuff that are interesting and are more with the vibe I think the team wants. So that's been quite helpful. And then finally, I think you'll get to this in a minute, the expert negotiation and the negotiation AI, which is like my favorite thing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, so here I just moved over to my own, out of our demo environment into my own production environment. So if I've shortlisted C containers in London, here's where I'm going to go through the RFP process. And so imagine that I've selected 4 different hotels that I'd like to send the RFPs out. One of the things that I love the most about this platform, and we've gotten the most receptive feedback from the folks that have participated in our alpha and our beta. I see many of you actually on the call. Thank you to Grammarly and Affirm and Snowflake and others for all of your really helpful feedback. Is there's a lot of manual work when I have to send out 4 different RFPs. I'm essentially filling out the same form over and over and over again. And so this streamlines that into one flow where you simply have to answer these questions one time. So I can confirm my dates, my guest information. I can ask for the run of house rooms or ask for specific rooms if I have them in mind. Um, Maybe our event is Wednesday to Friday, but I don't actually need the 40 rooms for Friday because the sales team's going to go home early and that last day is just for a leadership offsite. I can actually reduce the number of rooms that I need for Friday right here in the platform. And if your dates are flexible or if you have other things you want to communicate to the hotel, you can share those notes in the dates right here. Second, you can request meeting space right in the platform. So if you need meeting spaces, you can specify your requirements, whether it's this specific time of day, or your meeting configuration. So I really need a banquet hall or what's appropriate for me as a conference room. Ask for specific types of meeting spaces. You can also ask for breakout spaces or AV. And then you can also negotiate food and bev right as part of this our initial RFP flow. So let's say I needed breakfast, it'll adjust the number of guests. And then, last but not least, you're going to set your legal address and you'll finalize your RFP. As I say that, I'm going to actually hop back over to the previous environment, which is just going to take one moment, so that I can show what it looks like when those RFPs come back.
And while you're doing that, then one of the questions is, do vendors have a turnaround deadline to respond to the RFPs? We see that the vast majority of these vendors and these hotels respond to the RFPs in 48 hours, so typically 1 to 2 business days. Um, there is no hard deadline, but if they don't respond, then it does get marked as declined because they're just not responsive. We do follow up with these venues and these hotels and just say, hey, like make sure to respond to this. So that there is a process in the back to make sure that we're poking them. Um, but hopefully that provides some more color on the RFP responses. Then there was another question is, does using the process generate a contract with the hotel for the room block? And if my company has standard concessions we ask from each property, are those something that need to be negotiated separately aside from this tool capability? So, Kate, I think you're going to get into the some of the contract negotiation process in just a second here. So, if that's
Yep.
the case, I'll let you show rather than tell.
Sounds great. Okay, so um, once I've sent out my RFPs, you can see here, you can see the status immediately. So I have this contract requested. This hotel has acknowledged that they've received the request and are checking for availability. Healy's Hut says you could see here is available. So let's just show very quickly the process of negotiating. So Galen mentioned that, AI is the hottest word on the market right now. We try to drive home for our teams is there's no reason AI for AI's sake doesn't help anybody, but we want to think about really practical applications for using AI. And this is one that I think is a really, really, really useful use case for our organizers. So let's say I know exactly what I want to negotiate or I want to attach. Hey, here's our list of standard concessions. You can do that right in your communication with the hotel. So part of what we're doing here is we're taking all of this work that historically has existed in email and we're bringing it all into the platform so that you can compare between vendors, but also communicate directly with vendors and have a trail of that communication and those negotiations right in the product. So maybe I know exactly what I want to negotiate. As I said, I've attached my standard concessions, but maybe I need a little bit of help. And so this is where our AI negotiation tool is actually going and reading the initial offer that the hotel has sent. It's checking with all the historical data we have about, hey, in a negotiation process, what is something that is usually relatively easy to negotiate, what is high value, and then uh, giving you those indicators right in the product. So we tell you, okay, negotiate all. You can negotiate all, but let's say you wanted to negotiate room rates. Room rate is super important to your bottom line. We do expect some level of pushback, but if I wanted to negotiate room rates with one click, it's immediately writing a super polished message to the hotel. What we've seen a lot is folks just go with negotiate all. They pop in every single request and see what the hotel will come back with to ensure you're really getting that best offer. And it's also going to give you recommendations that you might not know of, right? If you're not a professional meeting planner, you might not know that it's typical to negotiate F&B or it's typical to negotiate off a Wi-Fi fee. So I think this is really, really valuable. Here you can actually see once the hotel sends back their offer, we structure the breakdown. So this is your room rate and your subtotal. You can see what they're asking for event meeting spaces for F&B. And then at this point, this would, here you could actually see that Christine has already negotiated a 15% off. And so that is actually reflected in this concessions.
So, Kate, that's actually touching on some of the questions we have in the chat right now. So, is there an option to add an additional question, right? Yes, it's in this communication portal right here. You can do it as part of the RFP and part of the ongoing communication with the hotel.
Mhm.
Another question is, can you include an attachment? Because I know a lot of the event teams, et cetera, they've already got these things, very standard terms that their vendors must agree to. So right there, that little paperclip, that's where you can attach a document as part of your RFP process.
Any other questions we want to tackle right now, or should we keep them
Yeah, yeah,
rolling?
yeah. Okay, I think this is also going into maybe some of the future state, but If attendee count changes, will the hotel be notified, or will the customer need to contact the hotel?
So right now, the customer will need to notify the hotel. Again, you can do that through the platform. Future state as we launch online rooming lists, that is something that will be directly in the product.
Excellent. And I got another question here. So we searched to hotels. Are those only hotels that not Navan is working with, or does it scan the whole city?
No, no, no. It's going to scan the whole city. So you are going to have the same level of content that you would expect from the Navan platform. Again, like we are rolling this out globally. So some of we have content in EMEA, but we're making sure that it meets our bar for content excellence. But this is not only Navan negotiated hotels.
Excellent. And then in the RFP process, are you able to request AV support?
Yes, yes, you are able. That's a custom that is right out of the box.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's look at here. I've actually booked this hotel. So once you request a contract, this process is going to go offline, and there's a couple of reasons for that. The number one is that what we heard from our customers is many of them have processes where they need to take the contract, run it through their procurement tool, or run it through whatever internal approvals are necessary. So you'll finalize the contract with the hotel. Once the contract is finalized, the hotel will upload it into our system. Again, we have automation that makes that very, very easy for them. And we are seeing that hotels are actually doing this. Uh, you know, anytime you launch a new product, there are question marks, but this is not a concern for us. So you'll be able to view the contract and download the contract. You can also see the original proposals and inquiries. Um, and you can see okay, so our final guest count, our price per guest, and our total cost. Now, we still have all of the controls and functionality that you would expect from Navan's events. So you have the ability this is going to look very familiar to you, to those of you that have used Navan events in the past. You have the ability to set your booking settings, everything from travel windows to allowed bookings, what types of flights you want to allow. We would not allow um, hotels in this instance because we booked a room block. And then you can also have booking notifications. Policy and payment is also set up right in the platform, same as it is in our traditional events flow. Um, and then here's where we get to the new, really exciting functionality. Once you are ready to send your invitations out to your participants, your advanced events participants are actually going to get this out of the box guest website. So what does that guest website include? One, you can customize these RSVP questions. So this is things that we heard a lot from our customers that they're doing through Google Forms or random Slacks, or maybe they're trying to have people fill out an Excel spreadsheet. It's a lot of work and it's really disjointed. And so this is us bringing this fully into the platform. So we have out of the box questions that you can show or not show. You can require the questions to be answered. You can also add custom questions. So I love these, if you're going to do swag, what's your t-shirt size? Or maybe you just want to understand when are people planning on arriving and departing because you know that there are some folks who are going to want to arrive a day early or want to arrive a day late. And before you lock in those booking settings, you'll make sure everybody's covered.
So Kate, we're coming up on our time here.
Oh
So
my goodness.
I know it was a fast, I hope it was a high impact 30 minutes for everybody. Um, there's a lot more questions in the chat. We are going to get to those. There's more to show on this.
Yep.
And so, for the audience, if you want to see more, reach out to your account managers, right? And we can do more demos of these features, of these capabilities for you. The recording is going to be sent via email tomorrow. And right now, if you're an admin on Navan and you're in North America, right? Because it's still limited to North America, not expanded to EMEA yet, you can go in and enable this advanced events capability and you can go try it out for yourself, right? And so you can explore the product, see what it looks like, plan your next team offsite in the platform. And then if you have any feedback, channel it through your account managers. It'll come back to Kate and I. And we're really excited about building this product and showing you some of the stuff that comes next. Like Kate alluded to, like the rooming list features and the EMEA expansion. So thank you all for your time. I really do appreciate it. Like I said, the recording will be sent out via email tomorrow, and there's going to be plenty more for us to show off for you guys in the near future. Thank you all.
Great.
Bye.
Thanks.